podcast where we tackle the hobby's hottest topics in depth to help you navigate the sports card landscape and enjoy the hobby we all love. Here's your host, John Newman.
All right, welcome to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Today's episode titled Chocolate Collectibles. Now, full disclosure, we're going to talk about some candy that's not chocolate, but they're all athletes, male or female, that appear on either candy bars or candy confections. Okay, what led to this episode? Well, I have an affinity for the 1989 Pacific Ken Griffey Jr. candy bar. I'll tell you a little bit about that backstory, and then we'll get into some of the other collectible candy or sugar confectionery, whatever you want to call them, when I kind of wanted to put this show together. So before we get to that, let's hear from Mojo Break, our great sponsor. They're doing big things in California and across the world. Dan and Doug do a great job providing product and breaks to people all over the place, and happy to have them part of the show. So let's hear about them, and then we'll be back to talk about some sweets. Hey folks, wanted to tell you about the best place to get some of your sealed sports card wax products. Great selection and some of the lowest prices on the web. MojoBreakShop.com is that place. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they're your guys, and they ship around the world right to your door. The Mojo Break name is one of the most trusted in the hobby. From sports cards to Pokemon, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders. Who won first place at this year's Topps Rip Party? None other than Mojo Break. Their prices are already great, but here's a way to save even more money. Use the code QUICKHITS, that's QUICKHITS, for 10% off anything on MojoBreakShop.com. They also have a full-service card shop in Santa Clara, California. So if you're in the area, stop by. They're open 7 days a week, so check them out at MojoBreakShop.com. All right, one of my earliest memories growing up in New York was, going places with my grandfather. I was raised by my grandparents. I did see my dad on a regular basis. It's a long story, probably not for hobby content, but raised by my grandparents, and I wouldn't change a thing, truthfully. I had a wonderful upbringing, but, loved going on those trips with my grandfather wherever he was going, and we would stop in, it's New York, it's Brooklyn, we'd stop in the corner store and pick up a few things. And, truth be told, when I was a young kid, I was a big chocolate fiend. Frankly, I'm still a big chocolate fiend, but I've just been better about not eating as much. And so, New York City at the time, as a little kid, I was a Yankee fan. That era, Munson, who had just passed away, Nettles, Randolph, and of course, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Well, when we would go to these corner stores, I'd always go right to the candy aisle, right, where all the candy bars were. And I saw this Reggie Jackson bar, a little square bar. Actually, I wasn't sure what it was. I just knew it had Reggie's picture, in full swing on the front wrapper. And found out it was chocolate, two of my favorite things in one item, right? Candy bar and Reggie. And so I got these and, ate quite a bit of them and, didn't keep anything closed or save any wrappers. I just wanted the, it was, I believe, like crisp rice chocolate, almost like a Nestle, if my memory serves me right. But ate quite a bit of them. All right, and that was about 1978. Not the first candy bar made of an athlete ever, but the first one that I ever realized at that point in my life. Flash forward, 1989. I am now 17, but I'm also, as crazy as it sounds, a veteran show dealer, doing a lot of setups at shows and the like. Was a big minor league fan. In other words, I had over at that point at age 17. Besides doing shows and having a lot of cards, I had over 1,000 minor league sets, and would follow guys in their minor league career, buy minor league sets that guys appeared in that I felt were going to make it big in the big leagues. And a guy I obviously followed, being the number one pick, was Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, it's quite a buzz, as most people would imagine, around him. He was, almost a household name for being a young kid himself. We were really about the same age. He was a year or two older than me, I believe. And so, started to follow him, had some of the early minor league sets, including the Bellingham, the first minor league set. And then the candy bar came out. And what I thought was cool about the candy bar, to this day I still think it's cool, it was a rookie candy bar. And a lot of times when a player or an athlete gets a candy or candy bar, usually it's once they've already established themselves as probably a Hall of Famer in whatever sport they're in, or a bona fide superstar. This was a case where Pacific, the card company, said, hey, they're a Northwest company. Griffey was going to be a Northwest star if he made it big. And a great move by Pacific to, get a deal in place with Griffey to make these Ken Griffey Jr., in a sense, rookie candy bars. I believe there was 8 chocolate molds. The stats were on the inside wrapper. The wrappers, the outside wrappers were either in blue or yellow, and they were designed to look like cards. And if, to this day, you'll see a lot of people have graded those wrappers. They can be graded, and some people have graded them. I try to keep the candy bars intact. Yeah, even all this time, what are we at? 32 years later, I got at this time, about 20 sealed candy bars in varying conditions, but many of these things look like they do or did just like in 1989. But let's go back. So Pacific, made these candy bars before Griffey really established himself, and that was sort of risky, I guess. Not really. I mean, he was a very popular player, a lot of buzz. I ate some, but I also sold a lot of these. I bought these by the box. I had them on my tables at the show, and I would sell these things. I'm trying to remember what I sold them for at the time, $2 or $3 a piece. I think they cost me about 75 cents a piece at the time, if my memory serves me correctly. And, at the time, I didn't put any away. I was just selling them every once in a while. When I had a fix for chocolate, I literally, open one up and eat it myself, right? Didn't want to eat all my profits, but every once in a while I treated myself. And so I don't know how many boxes of these I sold, but when I was set up, whether it be at a show or flea market, I always had a pretty fresh box. And most, 9 times out of 10, at the end of the show, that box was gone or pretty close to it. A lot of times, if there was just a couple left, that would be my reward to eat, and had the teeth to prove it. But made a pretty good profit on it. I wound up, then they kind of became a little bit harder to get. I wound up putting a couple away of each wrapper, one blue, one yellow, put it in a box, kind of forgot about it. And years later, I was kind of just organizing my stuff, and I pulled out a box, and actually the box tipped over a little bit, and it was kind of weird. Both of these candy bars just kind of flew out, kind of came out, slid out. And I had completely forgot about them. And this is, I would say, about 2013. So this is 24 years after the fact. And, brought back all those memories. And then I just said, you know what? What are these? Can you still get these things? Are people selling them? Did people save them? My curiosity was piqued. So, what do you do? What a lot of people do, right? Head to eBay and you search, Ken Griffey Jr. Pacific Candy Bar. And a lot of these candy bars came up. And a lot of wrappers came up, and ungraded ones. I was kind of surprised. And, the intact candy bars, there was more than there are now, I'll just say that. And many of them were going for between $4 and $8, $10. So I thought that was pretty cool, but I really didn't think much about it. Just had the 2 candy bars, reorganized my stuff, put them away, and kind of forgot about them again. I wanted to keep them sort of out of sight, just out of the sunlight and out of the heat. And so I just kind of put them away and forgot about them. And then again in 2016, about 3 years later, I pulled them out, going through stuff. And I said, you know what? It's been a few years. Let me check again on eBay, see where these things are. And and so on this time when I kind of checked on them on the secondary market, I noticed there were a lot less intact candy bars available. Now, they were still available. I don't want to make it sound like there were none, but there was a lot less and a lot more wrappers. There was a lot more wrappers, meaning people either threw away the chocolate part because it was, not good anymore, stale, bad, or kind of damaged. The matter of fact, the 2 I had wouldn't fit in like a case, the cases you get from Tops with the Montgomery sets, which is what I keep the ones I have in now that are in nice shape. The 2 I had wouldn't fit in those type cases. I actually just put them in like team bags to just keep them in that and that sort of thing. So I'm not touching the wrappers all the time. And so in 2016, I kind of followed up and said, hey, and noticed, hey, there's a lot less intact ones and a lot more wrappers. And I don't know, just how my mind works. I said, I'm going to try to buy as many intact ones, the whole candy bar, as I can and see how many I can get. My mind was just telling me, like, there's going to be less and less of these. People throw them away. They're going to be 30 years old shortly. The chocolate's no good. They get out of shape depending on where you keep them, if the elements or direct sunlight hits them. And so there's going to be a lot less of these intact bars than ever as time goes on. And probably more wrappers, because maybe people will just throw away the inner stuff and keep the outside collectible wrappers. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna just challenge myself. Let me see how many of these I can purchase intact. And so I start buying them, anywhere from about $5 or $6 a piece to $8 a piece. I tried to buy them in quantities as much as I could. If someone had 3, 4, 5 of them, but many people only had 1 or 2, and the shipping had to be right, or it really wasn't worth it. And a couple times, people on eBay listed them as intact candy bar, and when I got the package, probably I think on 2 occasions, it was just the wrapper. So they sort of worded their auction, contacted them, and got a refund and sent them their wrappers back. So I didn't get candy bars. So at one point, I got about 20 of these, and the last couple shows I did, flash forward, they go anywhere now from between, I've seen them as high as $30. I don't know if they're selling for that. You can price anything you want to, $8 to $10. And I sold a couple at the show, anywhere between, actually I sold about 8 to 10 at the combination of 2 shows. In 2 months for about $12 to $15. And then I recently bought a bunch more off of eBay, truth be told. And surprisingly, the ones that I got, and I got more coming that at the time of this recording I don't have yet. But the recent batch I got in really looked like they did, like we went back to 1989. When I first got them, I'm going to be honest with you, I almost thought they were counterfeit. But who's going to counterfeit 1989 chocolate bar? I guess anything's possible. But in looking at them, they're the real McCoy. They're just really in pristine shape, where they do fit in those Tops sort of 2-part cases that if you get stuff from Tops you're familiar with. So I start putting them in there, the ones that would fit in there, and I'm trying to stack them. You know, when I say stack, I mean I'm trying to buy as many of these as I can. I know maybe by putting this out there, I'm creating more of a market or condition, potentially. I know when I posted it on social media, a lot of people, you know, sort of responded. Either they didn't even know they existed, or they had forgotten about them all these years, like most people. And I kind of brought them back to the forefront, if you will. So I'm probably going to compete against more people, try to buy some of these intact bars, but that's okay. I'm up to about 20, and I got another about 8 on their way, and hopefully, you know, add some more here and there, even if it's 1 or 2 at a time. Maybe put one or 2 out in the showcases at shows and see what they go for. But kind of a fun little collectible. And so when I was thinking about doing the show about these candy bars, I said, let's do a show. I don't want to talk just about the Griffey or the Reggie bar. Let's kind of go through and talk about other athletes that have been on candy or candy bars. You know, if someone wanted to complete the whole set, right? The rainbow, not the Skittles rainbow, but the rainbow of candy collectibles. And so I did a little research. I'm going to try to give you everything I found in the year that these things were produced. One of the first candy bars ever produced to reflect an athlete was the Galloping Ghost, Red Grange, 1926. The Grange bar, 5 cents. Good luck finding that one intact. But you know, someone might have one somewhere hiding. I didn't even look on eBay for one, but who knows, right? The next one I could find was Babe Ruth, not Baby Ruth, the candy bar, not from Goonies. Baby Ruth, not that Baby Ruth. Terrible impression. There was a Babe Ruth bar, I believe in the 30s. Also, it was called the Home Run Candy Bar and had a picture of Babe on the wrapper, and those went for 5 cents back in the day. Then the next one, there was sort of I didn't see anything between that and then the Reggie bar in 78. And then the Griffey in 89, and then a bunch. Oh, there was a Muhammad Ali bar in 1978. I think they didn't make a ton of them, but it does exist. Muhammad Ali, 1978 candy bar. In 1990, Boomer Esiason. I'm trying to do these by year. I might miss one. Also in the 90s, there was a Cal Ripken bar. There was a Big Hurt Frank Thomas candy bar as well. Randall Cunningham, Eagles quarterback, got a candy bar as well. Isaiah Thomas in the early 90s got his own candy bar. Mark Price, Cleveland Cavaliers sharpshooter, had the Mark Price bar. The Moose bar, Mike Mussina had a candy bar. I believe a lot of that went to charity. Then Shaq, he had a bar called the Mr. Big bar, but it had a picture of Shaq on it. I'm not sure, what year, but Alex Ovechkin, Washington Capitals huge goal scorer, had a candy bar called Mr. Big Deal. Mario Andretti, the race car driver, had a bar that was exclusive to Kmart only. Doug Gilmore, former hockey player, 2009. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the race car driver, obviously, 2007. See who else. Joe Flacco had gummy bears, the Joe Flacco gummy bears in 2012. And Maria Sharapova, the very nice-looking tennis player, also had gummy bears the same year as Flacco, 2012. Carmelo Anthony, our local guy here from Syracuse, had the Carmelo Anthony bar, not the Carmelo bar, the Carmelo Anthony bar in 2004. Let's see what else I came up with. Probably one of the lesser-known players to have a candy bar. I was a little surprised. 2007, little scat running back, Fred Smoot. Remember him? Vikings, Redskins. He had a bar called the I think Smack Bar with the Fred Smoot Smack Bar. That was 2007. Oh, let's backtrack a little bit. 1997, the Chipper Bar. Yep, Chipper Jones had a candy bar as well. So I think that was all I could come up with. Someone else told me there was a Wade Boggs bar. I did not find anything pertaining to that. There may be some regional food issues too, and I only stuck to candy. There's tons of cereals, Flutie Flakes. The Steelers have done numerous cereals with their superstars. Juju, I believe Bennett one time. Heinz Ward had a cereal. There's been a lot of cereals and Wheaties boxes with athletes on it. So I stuck to just sort of confectionery releases. So either candy or candy bars. So I tried to get everything. I might have missed a few. I did my best. But maybe we'll have to do an update to this episode with when people tell me, hey, you forgot this candy bar or this candy bar. I tried to get them all. Good, almost 30 of them here between candy bars and gummy bears. So, it makes it interesting, as a collector, right? I'm sort of stacking these Griffey Jr. bars. I might have to look about getting a Reggie bar just for the sentimentality of it, right? Just to bring back memories. But what if I was to take this list I have that I'm reading off of for the show of all these candy bars or gummy bear, athlete endorsed products, and you try to get one of every one, right? You kind of have the Candy Run rainbow collection. I thought about it. I don't know how many left of these are. I might take the list in just one day when I got about an hour to kill. Just see how many of these, if I was to do that or anyone else was to do that, how hard would this be? So if it's something, the Candy Bar Challenge, we'll call it. If you're going to do it, or if I might try it, let me know and let me know your progress. But, hey, candy can be collectible too, right? It doesn't have to be cardboard or chrome. Well, thanks for spending some time with us on Hobby Quick Hits. Hope you're doing well. We'll see you in a week. Thanks for listening, and happy candy hunting. All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/sportscardnationpodcast/ Twitter, we are at SportsCardNati1, so it's SportsCard NATI1. Instagram, at Sports Card Nation Podcast, or you can email the show, hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.